Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! In the somber, flickering light of the street lamp, a figure materialized, their footsteps sounding weary echoes against the pavement. In the doorway of his beloved 1940s home, Ethan entered. With the portal now closed, he abruptly yet quietly dropped his briefcase to the floorboards, draped his suit jacket on the nearby antique chair, and loosened his tie, combing his fingers through his unruly mane of chocolate-colored hair. Like a cracked record spinning without pause, the law firm had once again relentlessly drained his very essence. Eyes strained by relentless procedural paperwork and ears aching from nauseating client disputes, Ethan felt nearly inanimate. Glancing at his mechanical wristwatch, he noticed the hands had met for the 11th hour, informing him that 22:30 had arrived. Most fondly and desperately, he wished his wife Clara to arrive imminently, for she was his warmth and comfort. Inside the darkened bedroom, he made his way to Clara's dresser and slowly slid open the top drawer. His fingers brushed against silky fabric, sending a shiver down his spine. Gently, reverently, he lifted out the powder blue satin robe that belonged to his wife. "Just for a little while," Ethan murmured to himself, the same justification he always used. He shrugged off his dress shirt and slacks, draping them over a chair. Then, with practiced movements, he slipped the robe over his shoulders. The cool, smooth material caressed his skin as he cinched the belt at his waist. Immediately, some of the day's tension began to melt away. Ethan closed his eyes, savoring the comforting weight of the fabric, the way it swished softly as he moved. For reasons he couldn't explain, wearing the robe centered him, calmed the chaos in his mind. He padded out to the living room and sank onto the couch with a contented sigh. The satin pooled around him as he curled his legs up, feeling more relaxed than he had in days. Ethan knew he should feel ashamed of this secret ritual, but in moments like these, it felt so right. His eyelids grew heavy as he nestled into the cushions. Just a short nap, he told himself. He'd change back before Clara got home. The jingling of keys jolted Ethan awake. His eyes flew open in panic as he registered the sound of the front door opening. "Ethan, are you home?" Clara's voice called out. Heart pounding, Ethan leapt to his feet. But it was too late. Clara rounded the corner into the living room before he could flee. She froze, her blue eyes widening as she took in the sight of her husband wearing her robe. "Oh!" Ethan's face burned with shame. He opened his mouth, scrambling for an explanation, an excuse, anything, but the words wouldn't come. To his surprise, Clara's expression softened. "Is that my robe?" she asked gently. Ethan nodded mutely, his gaze fixed on the floor. He braced himself for anger, disgust, ridicule. Instead, Clara set down her purse and moved closer. "It looks nice on you," she said softly. "The color suits you." Ethan's head snapped up in disbelief. You're not mad?" Clara shook her head, a small smile playing at her lips. "Why would I be mad? If wearing it makes you feel good, then I'm glad." Relief and confusion warred within Ethan. "I don't understand," he admitted. "I thought you'd be furious or think I was some kind of freak." Clara reached out, taking his hand in hers. "Ethan, you're my husband and I love you. Nothing could change that. If this is something you enjoy, I want to understand it." Tears pricked at Ethan's eyes. "I'm not sure I understand it myself," he confessed. It helps me relax, makes me feel calm when everything else is chaotic. Clara nodded encouragingly. Then that's a good thing, isn't it? We all need ways to de-stress. Ethan let out a shaky breath. You really don't mind? Of course not, Clara assured him. She paused, then added with a playful grin, though I may have to get myself a new robe if you keep borrowing this one. A chuckle escaped Ethan, the tension finally draining from his shoulders. I'm sorry I kept this from you, he said. I was so afraid of what you'd think. Clara squeezed his hand. No more secrets between us, okay? I want you to feel safe sharing anything with me. Ethan nodded, overwhelmed with gratitude for his wife's understanding. As they settled onto the couch together, Clara's acceptance opened the door to a conversation Ethan had never imagined having. Over the next few weeks, Ethan found himself opening up more to Clara about his feelings. With her encouragement, he began exploring his feminine side in small ways, painting his nails on weekends, trying out Clara's moisturizer before bed. Each step brought a sense of rightness, like puzzle pieces clicking into place. Clara was endlessly supportive, offering gentle suggestions and reassurance. One evening, as they relaxed on the couch, Ethan in his favorite blue robe, Clara broached a topic that had been on her mind. Ethan, she began carefully, have you ever considered that you might be transgender? Ethan's breath caught. The word sent a jolt through him. Fear, excitement, recognition. I don't know, he admitted. I've never let myself think about it. Clara nodded understandingly. It's okay if you're not sure, but I've been doing some research, and a lot of what you've described feeling matches up with experiences of trans women. Ethan was quiet for a long moment, his mind reeling. Even if that were true, he said slowly, I couldn't transition. My job, our families, it would change everything. Those things don't matter if you're not happy being you, Clara countered gently. I just want you to know that if exploring this is something you want to do, I'm here for you, every step of the way. Tears welled in Ethan's eyes. He leaned into Clara's embrace, overwhelmed by her unwavering support. I don't deserve you, he whispered. Clara pressed a kiss to his forehead. You deserve to be your authentic self, whatever that looks like. The conversation opened a floodgate. Over the following months, Ethan began seeing a therapist who specialized in gender identity. With Clara by his side, he slowly came to accept a truth he'd been running from his whole life. She was a woman. The day Ethan asked Clara to start using she, her pronouns, and call her Erica, was terrifying and exhilarating. Hearing her new name spoken aloud felt like coming home. Erica's transition wasn't easy. There were difficult conversations with family and coworkers, legal hurdles, and the physical changes of hormone therapy. But through it all, Clara remained her rock. A year into her transition, Erica stood before the mirror in their bedroom, hardly recognizing the woman staring back at her. Her brown hair had grown out, framing a softer face. The powder blue silk blouse she wore accentuated curves that hadn't existed before. You look beautiful, Clara said, coming up behind her and wrapping her arms around Erica's waist. Erica leaned back into her wife's embrace. I couldn't have done any of this without you, she murmured. Clara smiled, meeting Erica's eyes in the mirror. You did all the hard work. I'm just glad I get to witness you becoming who you were always meant to be. Erica turned in Clara's arms, cupping her face gently. I love you so much, she whispered, before bringing their lips together in a tender kiss. As they parted, Clara's eyes twinkled mischievously. You know, I think it's about time we went shopping for some new robes, ones that are actually yours. Erica laughed, the sound light and joyous. I'd like that, she agreed. But I think I'll always have a soft spot for that old blue one. It changed my life. Hand in hand, they left the bedroom, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Erica knew that with Clara by her side, she could overcome anything. For the first time in her life, she felt truly, completely herself. The law firm's atmosphere was tense as Erica stepped off the elevator, her heels clicking against the polished floor. It was her first day back after taking time off for facial feminization surgery, and she could feel curious eyes following her as she made her way to her office. Her brown hair was styled in soft waves, framing her newly refined features. She smoothed down her navy blue blazer, taking a deep breath to calm her nerves. Clara had helped her choose the outfit, professional yet feminine, a statement that she was still the same capable lawyer, just in a form that finally felt right. As she rounded the corner, she nearly collided with Thomas, one of the senior partners. He did a double take, blinking in surprise. Erica, right? He said, stumbling slightly over the name. Welcome back. You look different. Erica managed a small smile. Thank you, Thomas. It's good to be back. She could see the questions in his eyes, the struggle to reconcile the person before him with the Ethan he'd known for years. But to his credit, he simply nodded and continued on his way. Inside her office, Erica sank into her chair with a sigh of relief. She booted up her computer, determined to dive back into work and prove that her transition wouldn't affect her performance. A knock at the door interrupted her thoughts. Come in, she called. Jessica, her longtime paralegal, poked her head in. Her eyes widened as she took in Erica's appearance. Wow, she breathed. You look amazing. Erica felt herself relax slightly at the genuine warmth in Jessica's voice. Thanks, Jess. It's a big change. I know. Jessica stepped fully into the office, closing the door behind her. How are you feeling? This can't be easy. Terrified, Erica admitted with a rueful laugh. But also, right. For the first time, I feel like I'm truly myself. Jessica nodded, her expression thoughtful. Well, for what it's worth, I think you're incredibly brave. And if anyone gives you a hard time, you let me know. I've got your back. Tears pricked at Erica's eyes. She blinked them away, touched by her friend's support. That means a lot, Jess. Thank you. As Jessica left, Erica turned back to her computer with renewed determination. She had worked hard to build her career, and she wasn't about to let anyone question her abilities now. The day progressed, a whirlwind of client meetings and case reviews. Erica threw herself into the work, grateful for the distraction from the whispers and stares that followed her. By late afternoon, she was deep in research for an upcoming trial when a shadow fell across her desk. She looked up to find Richard, the firm's managing partner, standing in her doorway. Do you have a moment? He asked, his expression unreadable. Erica's stomach clenched with anxiety, but she nodded. Of course. Come in. Richard closed the door and took a seat across from her. He was silent for a long moment, studying her face. I'll be honest, Erica, he finally said. When you first told us about your transition, I had my doubts. I worried about how it might affect the firm, our clients. Erica steeled herself, waiting for the other shoe to drop. But Richard surprised her. "I was wrong," he continued. "You've handled this transition with professionalism and grace. And from what I've seen today, you're still the same brilliant lawyer we've always known." Relief washed over Erica. "Thank you, Richard. That means more than you know." He nodded, a small smile breaking through his usually stern demeanor. "We're lucky to have you on our team, Erica. I want you to know that you have the full support of the partners. If anyone gives you trouble, come to me directly." As Richard left, Erica let out a shaky breath. She hadn't realized how much tension she'd been carrying until that moment. The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur. By the time Erica packed up to leave, the office had mostly emptied out. She made her way to the elevator, looking forward to getting home to Clara. As the doors slid open, she found herself face to face with James, a fellow associate she'd worked closely with on many cases. He startled visibly, his eyes widening as he took in her appearance. "Ethan?" he blurted out, then immediately flushed. Erica, right? Sorry, I'm still getting used to—" "It's okay," Erica assured him, stepping into the elevator. "It's a big change for everyone." James nodded, fidgeting awkwardly as the doors closed. "You look nice," he offered after a moment. The blue suits you." Erica smiled, touched by his clumsy attempt at acceptance. "Thank you, James." They rode in silence for a few floors before James spoke again. "Listen, I know things might be weird for a while, but I want you to know that as far as I'm concerned, you're still the same person, the best damn lawyer I know, no matter what you look like on the outside." Erica felt a lump form in her throat. "I appreciate that," she managed. As they reached the lobby, James gave her a tentative smile. "A bunch of us are grabbing drinks next week. You should join us, if you want." "I'd like that," Erica replied, genuinely touched by the invitation. They parted ways outside the building, and Erica began the walk home with a lightness in her step. The day had been challenging, but she felt a sense of hope. It wouldn't be easy, but she was starting to believe that she could have both her true identity and the career she'd worked so hard for. As she rounded the corner onto her street, she saw Clara waiting for her on their stoop. Her wife's face lit up as she spotted Erica, and she stood to greet her with a warm embrace. "How was it?" Clara asked, searching Erica's face. Erica let out a long breath. "Scary. Awkward. But better than I expected, actually." Clara beamed, taking Erica's hand as they headed inside. "I'm so proud of you," she said. "You're the strongest person I know." In the safety of their home, Erica finally allowed herself to relax fully. She changed out of her work clothes into a comfortable dress, reveling in the freedom to be completely herself. As they settled onto the couch with takeout and wine, Erica filled Clara in on the day's events. Clara listened attentively, offering words of encouragement and support. "It's just the beginning," Clara reminded her. "Things will get easier with time." Erica nodded, leaning her head on Clara's shoulder. "I know, and having you by my side makes all the difference." They fell into a comfortable silence, the stress of the day melting away. Erica marveled at how far she'd come from that night Clara had discovered her in the blue robe. The journey hadn't been easy, but for the first time in her life, she felt truly at peace with who she was. As the weeks passed, Erica settled into her new normal at work. There were still occasional slip-ups with pronouns or her old name, but for the most part, her colleagues made an effort to be supportive. She threw herself into her cases with renewed vigor, determined to prove that her transition hadn't affected her skills as a lawyer. If anything, she found herself more focused and confident now that she wasn't expending so much energy hiding her true self. One afternoon, as Erica was preparing for a major trial, Jessica knocked on her office door with an excited grin. "You're not going to believe this," she said, waving a file. "Remember that precedent we've been searching for? I think I found it." Erica's eyes lit up as she scanned the document Jessica handed her. "This is perfect," she breathed. "Jess, you're a lifesaver." Jessica beamed. "Just doing my job. We make a great team, you know." As Jessica left, Erica felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. She had worried that her transition might strain her working relationships, but if anything, they seemed stronger than ever. The trial itself was grueling, stretching over several days. Erica poured everything she had into her arguments, barely noticing the curious glances from the gallery as she eloquently made her case. When the verdict came back in their favor, Erica felt a surge of triumph. She had won cases before, but this victory felt different. It was proof that she could still excel in her career while living as her authentic self. That evening, as she recounted the trial to Clara over dinner, Erica found herself getting emotional. "I was so afraid I'd have to choose," she admitted, "between being true to myself and keeping the career I love. But maybe I can have both." Clara reached across the table, squeezing her hand. "Of course you can. You're still the same brilliant, hard-working person you've always been. The only difference is that now the world gets to see the real you." Erica smiled, blinking back tears. "I don't know what I'd do without you," she said softly. "You'd be just fine," Clara assured her. "But I'm glad you don't have to find out." As they cleaned up after dinner, Erica's phone buzzed with a text from Jessica. "The team is heading out for celebratory drinks. You in?" Erica hesitated for a moment. Social situations outside of work were still a source of anxiety, but she thought of James's invitation weeks ago and the genuine warmth she'd felt from her colleagues lately. "Go," Clara encouraged, seeing her indecision. "You deserve to celebrate." With a deep breath, Erica texted back her agreement. She changed into a navy blue wrap dress, touching up her makeup before heading out. At the bar, she was greeted with cheers and congratulations from her coworkers. As the night wore on, Erica found herself relaxing, laughing and joking with her colleagues in a way she never had before. It wasn't until she was getting ready to leave that she overheard a snippet of conversation that gave her pause. "I have to admit, I was skeptical at first," she heard Thomas saying to Richard. "But Erica's performance in court today was outstanding. We're lucky to have her." Richard nodded in agreement. "She's always been one of our best. If anything, she seems even more confident now." Erica slipped out quietly, her heart full. The road ahead might still have its challenges, but she felt more certain than ever that she had made the right choice in embracing her true self. As she walked home, she thought about how far she'd come from that stressed-out lawyer seeking solace in a borrowed robe. The journey had been difficult, but with Clara's unwavering support and her own determination, she had found a way to be true to herself while still pursuing her passion. Erica knew there would still be obstacles to face, both personally and professionally, but for the first time in her life, she felt equipped to handle whatever came her way. She was finally living as her authentic self, and that gave her a strength she had never known before. When she arrived home, Clara was waiting up for her. Erica fell into her wife's arms, overwhelmed with love and gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered, For everything. Clara held her close, pressing a kiss to her temple. I'm so proud of you, she murmured. You're amazing. You know that? As they got ready for bed, Erica caught sight of herself in the mirror. The woman looking back at her was confident, happy, and finally at peace. She smiled, thinking of the blue robe tucked away in her drawer, a reminder of where her journey had begun. With Clara by her side and the support of her colleagues, Erica felt ready to take on whatever the future held. She was living proof that it was never too late to become who you were always meant to be.
Thanks for watching, my girlies! Be sure to check out Patreon for more!